years old.
So when I was pregnant with Archie, incredibly painful. And the world is watching this drama play out.
Oh my gosh, buckle up because what you're about to hear is unbelievable. A woman who worked inside that California mansion, yes, that one has finally broken her silence. And what she's saying? It completely clashes with the polished fairy tale we've all been fed. She wasn't some occasional visitor. No, she was there every single day, clocking in 12-hour shifts, living and breathing inside that house. And here's the kicker. She swears she never saw what millions believed was happening behind those perfectly painted gates. No bump, no kids, no laughter, just silence and cameras everywhere. And when she finally sat down to watch that Netflix documentary, the one that showed the world this picture-perfect family life, her jaw dropped. Because according to her, those dreamy scenes everyone sobbed over, they didn't happen the way we all thought, not even close. So let's pull back the curtain and talk about what really went down when nobody was supposed to be watching, and why the biggest question of all still doesn't have an answer. Hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell, because what this woman reveals about those Netflix scenes, it's gonna change everything you thought you knew. Smash that like if you're ready to see what was really happening behind those Montecito gates. Now, let's get into it. So here's where it all starts, and honestly, it already feels strange. When the search for a nanny began, you'd expect a simple checklist, right? Someone experienced with kids, professional, maybe used to working for high-profile families. But no, this one came with a hidden rule no one saw coming.
He's growing up fast in this cozy snapshot of fall.
I think this feels like a really exciting time for Meghan.
Apparently, there was one requirement that didn't make it onto any official job posting, and it's a doozy. The woman they hired couldn't be too attractive. Yep, you heard that right. No glamorous looks, no polished wardrobe that might make people do a double take, no effortless camera-ready charm. The goal? Plain, invisible, forgettable. And that wasn't an accident. On paper, the position looked normal experience with children, total discretion, the ability to manage a high-profile household, all standard stuff for a celebrity family. But behind those closed doors, there was this quiet, unspoken Rule 1 that candidates only discovered once they were deep into the interview process. The right person had to blend into the background. And not just in a professional way. We're talking about someone who could practically fade into the walls, someone who'd never, under any circumstance, draw attention.
Meghan's former nanny and housemaid has now stepped forward, and her words shake the very foundation of what we've been led to.
Never drawing even a second glance. And you might think, why does that even matter? Well, people close to the process said this wasn't about petty jealousy or tabloid gossip. No, this was about control, pure, total control. The real demands of this job? Way deeper. Way more intense than anyone imagined. First, you had to be on call 24/7. Not sometimes. Not most days. No, every single hour of every single day. If the phone rang at 3 a.m., you'd better answer. No off-duty time. No weekends. No me days. Your life gone. Second, no romantic relationships. At all.
Got the same blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
Sort of like a golden reddish hair.
The logic? If you had your own family, your loyalty wouldn't be exclusive. You wouldn't give your whole self to Archie and Lilibet. And lastly, you had to be ready to relocate instantly. Bags packed, no questions asked. If a sudden trip popped up, whether across the state or across the world, you'd better be ready to go.
A tabloid rumor. It wasn't speculation whispered across dinner tables or stirred up by social media.
The expectation was clear, total flexibility, zero questions. From the outside, that Montecito mansion looked like heaven on earth lush gardens, sparkling pools, sprawling views. But according to insiders, living there was like being trapped inside a bubble. Sure, it looked glamorous until you realized the rules were suffocating. This wasn't a job you could leave at the front door when your shift ended. No, it followed you everywhere. Your time, your thoughts, your freedom, all swallowed up by that world. This wasn't about hiring help. It was about finding someone willing to surrender their whole life to become part of the machine. But what they didn't know is that the entire thing was a test within a test.
Family that hangs on set together stays together.
We are so fortunate, and we're all here to support.
They were being watched constantly. And not just by a person peeking through a door. No, there were hidden cameras everywhere. Every single move, how you spoke to the kids, how you handled stress, whether you smiled when no one was watching, even how you talked to the chef or the cleaning staff. Every tone, every glance, every sigh recorded. These women thought they were doing a trial day of childcare. But really, they were starring in a secret audition they never agreed to. And by the time they finally met the couple face to face, the decision was already made.
Meghan's former nanny and housemaid has now stepped forward, and her words shake the very foundation of what we've been led to believe.
That meeting wasn't to decide if you got the job. It was to confirm whether the person sitting in front of them was the same as the one they'd been analyzing on camera for days. Were you genuine? Were you real? Or were you just acting the part? Every smile was a test. Every pause a clue. Sure, most celebrity families have background checks, maybe even security screenings, but this wasn't about safety. This was a covert operation.
Watching mom do her thing on a monitor. Their red hair, clearly a trait passed down from dad, Prince Harry.
From there, everything inside that mansion started to shift. The atmosphere, the tone, even the unspoken rules. And that's when the woman, the one who actually lived and worked inside those walls, started noticing how different life really was behind the glossy photos. She wasn't a part-timer. She wasn't a guest. She was there 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, every single week. She knew every hallway, every polished marble corner, every scent of that house. She didn't just not see a pregnancy, she never saw the kids either. Not once, not a glimpse, not even the sound of laughter echoing through the hallways. Think about that.
It may sound like a small disagreement, but insiders say this early divide set the tone for every childcare decision that followed.
A house supposedly filled with 2 young children, yet silent as a library. No toys scattered around, no half-eaten snacks on counters. No bedtime cries or little giggles bouncing off the walls, nothing, just immaculate, echoing stillness. For someone spending most of her waking hours in that home, the silence was eerie. She'd arrive before sunrise, stay until after dinner, yet there was never a single moment where she saw or heard the children. You'd expect to hear something, right? The sound of little feet running across the hall, maybe a nanny humming a lullaby, toys clattering, bath time splashes, but day after day it was the same, nothing. To her and to others on staff, it was deeply unsettling. The world outside was watching a carefully curated life, magazine covers, Netflix montages, glowing interviews. But inside those walls, she said, it felt like she was living in a stage set empty rooms made to look alive. And when that Netflix documentary dropped, she watched it curious to see the home she knew so well through their lens. But as the episodes played, she felt this chill run down her spine. She saw scenes showing a growing belly, family laughter, sweet garden moments with Archie and Lilibet, the chicken coop, the sunlight, the warmth. But she kept whispering to herself, that's not what I saw. The angles looked off. The rooms looked staged. The timing completely wrong. Because during all the months she was there, none of those moments happened. According to her, it didn't look like a documentary, it looked like a production. Carefully directed, perfectly lit, strategically edited, those tender moments, the garden, the parenting scenes were, to her eyes, scenes built to sell a narrative. She wasn't saying it to be cruel. She was saying it because she'd lived it. The home, she explained, wasn't really a home at all. It was a fortress. Security was intense. From the moment you drove up that long private driveway, you knew you were entering a place where every second was monitored. When she arrived for work, she had to surrender her phone. Every day. No exceptions. Before even stepping through the gates, security guards took her phone and checked her bag. Not just a casual glance, a full inspection. They'd look for recording devices, cameras, even voice recorders. Anything that could capture what went on inside. If you tried to bring in something electronic, it stayed outside. Period. The message was loud and clear. Nothing leaves this house unless we want it to. She'd worked for other celebrities' big names who valued their privacy, but she'd never experienced anything this extreme. This wasn't privacy. This was control. Every single move felt watched. Even inside, the staff weren't just expected to be professional, they were expected to disappear. No casual conversations. No curious glances, no whispers, and that rule about phones, it wasn't temporary. It was every single day. She said it made her wonder, why the obsession with such control? Sure, celebrities hate paparazzi. Sure, they want to keep their kids off camera. But confiscating phones like it's a military base? Checking purses like you're entering a government lab? That's not normal. It made her start to think there was something deeper, something they didn't want anyone, not even loyal staff, to accidentally witness. Because when a family goes to those lengths to hide what's happening in their own home, you can't help but ask, what are they hiding? The vibe shifted from exclusive to eerie. People whispered that privacy wasn't just about safety, it was about shaping the story. Because when nobody inside can record or share anything, the only version of reality that reaches the public is the one they control. Every image, every interview, every photo shoot, meticulously curated. And the worker said she finally realized that the real goal wasn't protection from the press. It was control over the narrative. Absolute control. They didn't want leaks. They didn't want reality. They wanted their version of the truth to be the only one that ever existed. And then came that infamous chicken coop scene, the one Oprah made famous, showing the couple living a down-to-earth California life surrounded by chickens and laughter. The internet adored it. They're just so real, people said. But according to the woman who worked there, that was the biggest illusion of all. Yes, there was a chicken coop. Yes, someone went there often, but not to play with kids. It wasn't a family hangout spot. It was a set piece. She insists she never once saw Archie or Lilibet in that garden. Not near the chickens, not in the grass, nowhere. So those intimate family moments the world saw, she swears they were staged. That cozy garden wasn't a playground for children, it was a backdrop, a prop, tell a story. And when you think about it like that, the whole fairy tale starts to crumble. Those candid laughs, those gentle smiles, they weren't real life. They were performances, perfectly edited to look effortless. So if the children weren't there during those scenes, what were we watching? A glimpse of truth? Or just another piece of a scripted image crafted to melt hearts and control headlines? The woman knew her words would stir chaos. She knew people would call her bitter or accuse her of lying. But she said she had nothing to gain from making it up. She wasn't chasing fame. She wasn't selling her story to tabloids. She was just telling the truth of what she saw. And even though she knew how unbelievable it sounded, she refused to stay quiet any longer. Because if the world only knew the manufactured version, she felt it was time to share the reality. She worked exhausting 12-hour days, 5 days a week. She saw the polished photos and Instagram posts, and then she lived the silence behind them. She keeps repeating one thing over and over again. I will not say there was a pregnancy when I never saw it. I will not say there were children there when I never heard or saw them, not once. When you stack her accounts side by side with the glossy documentary, the difference is staggering. The public saw a glowing, peaceful family story. She saw an empty stage. The Netflix film showed love, warmth, joy. She saw secrecy, restriction, and carefully rehearsed moments. And it leaves one haunting question hanging in the air, the question that refuses to go away. If the people who worked inside that mansion for hours every single day never saw Archie or Lilibet, then where were they? So what do you think? Does her story change how you see the footage we've all watched? Is there something bigger going on? Something the world was never meant to notice? Let me know in the comments, because this one might just rewrite everything we thought we knew. And if you want more jaw-dropping behind-the-scenes revelations like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because, trust me, what's coming next is even wilder. There's so much more to uncover.